Hey everybody, this is Yana Collins and welcome back to Oz Living. Now we're here at the Blockhaus for the Asia Crypto Week, and joining me today is Kanny Lee. He's the head of Singapore for OSL. So Kanny, thanks so much for joining me.
Oh, you're welcome.
And you were part of the interesting panel about DeFi. So let's just start your touch points. So how has crypto winter impacted the DeFi space?
Well, I could tell that we're not as sexy as before now in the crypto winter. We just talked about DeFi summers transitioning to crypto winter. We probably don't feel it this week because there's so many events, there's so many people coming from all around the world descending upon Singapore. The great thing about Singapore is that it's a huge crypto community all around Southeast Asia. So I would say that you probably won't feel it being here. I was just talking to some of the guys and they said we had mainnets last week, a couple of Lamborghinis floating around. So for the rest of us, on the institutional space, I would say that there's a lot less inherent demand as usual, because when we were talking about the nadir maybe a year or two ago, there were so many people. My neighbors were asking about crypto. My friends were asking about crypto. That's kind of when you know that things are overheated. When people out of the blue call you up and say, hey, what sort of protocol should I invest in? And the regular laymen's, when they start asking for that, that's when you get kind of scared. So I think that happened about 6 months ago, and lo and behold, that we had that crash.
In terms of challenges in the DeFi space, what are you observing?
Well, I think the biggest challenge is actually access to DeFi. When you talk to mostly non-native crypto guys, and they're saying, well, how do I get into DeFi? Kanny, can you do it for me? I was like, well, that's not actually what DeFi is all about. You're actually supposed to be decentralized, you're supposed to open a protocol, connect to a wallet, and go into it yourself. But serving institutional customers, they're asking for access to DeFi. What they're really asking for is yield. In a yield-starved environment where inflation is beyond 8-9%, they're looking at yields that are in the double-digit range, 18%, maybe 20%, and that's what's interesting to them. But what I always come back to, what I said in the panel today, is really about sustainable yields. When you talk about sustainable yields, you have to ask beyond, why are you offering more than inflation? What's the magic behind this? And what is this, mystery, and how are you paying it? I think what was also said on the panel, if you don't know what the yield comes from, you're the yield. So try not to be the yield.
And in terms of the evolution of the DeFi space, how do you see it evolving? Do you see the traditional banks adopting the DeFi, or the DeFi replacing actually the banks?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. DeFi is supposed to be the killer app for banks, but at the same time, banks are saying, well, let's have a DeFi strategy. Well, it's kind of like, us eating, the next solution. But again, inherently, the value proposition is supposed to be very, very different. DeFi is supposed to have lower intermediaries, it's lower compliance. There are things that you cut out as an intermediary, so it makes it easier for you to get access to it, therefore to able to pay higher yields. It's more efficient, it's driverless, it's automated, all the things that you want in a Web3 economy. I think what's going to happen is that the banks are going to respond. When you look at what's being offered, they're going to come back and say, well, you really do like the customer service, don't you? One of the things that we spoke about was to have, as a startup pitch, a decentralized customer service. I'm like, that sounds great, because the hardest thing is about recourse. During the crash in the last 6 months, a lot of people are asking, hey, where's my money? How can I get my money back? And when you go to, when you go to those protocols, you say, I want my money back. Who's going to give it to you? Is someone actually going to give it back?
No.
Yeah. In a smart chain type way, you really want to have recourse. You really want to make that phone call. So if I told you, let's put all your money in DeFi because you're going to get 10% yield, maybe not. Maybe I'll just put my, my spare savings, or I'll put money that I'm happy to lose. But the day that you think will change, when people take their principal income and put their salary into DeFi, that will be a long time from now.
Well, Kanny, very insightful points. Thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate it.
I appreciate it. Love being here. Thanks.